At the intersection of artificial intelligence, soft robotics, and biomimetic engineering, a new branch of technological evolution is emerging: robotic fauna. Once confined to the speculative realm of science fiction or the closed doors of high-budget military-industrial laboratories, these entities are now rapidly permeating consumer electronics shelves, public safety inventories, and ecological management strategies. This report is a comprehensive analysis, prepared in light of current literature and market data, examining the integration processes of autonomous robotic animals into daily life, their morphological and cognitive evolution, and their existential relationship with their biological counterparts. The data indicate that we are currently in the early commercial dissemination phase, with a transition to widespread integration expected between 2030 and 2035. The analysis predicts that, rather than fully replacing biological animals, robotic animals will fill specific niches such as hazardous labor, specialized therapy, and precision urban ecology management, ultimately rendering biological pet ownership an eco-luxury status. The core of the user's inquiry, "What will they be like?" encompasses not only appearance, but also how these machines will perceive, process, and physically manipulate the world. The evolution of robotic animals is shaped by the convergence of three major technological vectors: generative AI, mind; soft robotics and biomimetic materials, body; and energy autonomy, metabolism. Past robotic pets, such as early Sony Abo models or simple toys, were finite-state machines, limited to predefined reaction sets. However, as of 2024-2025, the integration of large language models, LLMs, and effective computing technologies has transformed these entities from static machines into emotion-aware agents. Next-generation robotic systems do more than simply process commands. They employ multimodal sentient prototype networks, MSPNs, capable of analyzing subtle nuances in a user's voice, facial expressions, and body language. Through cross-modal fusion transformers, these systems can identify a tremble in a human voice as fear or sadness and generate appropriate empathetic behavioral responses. For example, platforms like Xiaomi CyberDog 2 or Unitree Go 2, equipped with integrated GPT-based systems, can engage in complex dialogue, understand context, and respond not as machines, but as emotional companions. This cognitive leap is strengthened by improvements in robotic memory. Platforms such as Finrock allow robots to recall past interactions with users, learn personal preferences, favorite activities, daily routines, and form long-term companionship profiles. As a result, a robotic animal can recognize its owner and develop individualized behaviors, creating a digital bond similar to the loyalty of a biological dog. The physical structure of robotic animals is evolving from industrial rigidity toward biological softness. Biomimetic engineering, inspired by nature's millions of years of R&D, is transforming how machines move and interact through touch. One of the defining traits of biological organisms is sensitive skin that remains in constant contact with the environment. Advances in 2025 have led to the development of flexible, conductive electronic skins, e-skin, that give robots human-like tactile sensitivity. Developed by researchers at Cambridge University and UCL, these skins turn the robot's entire surface into a unified sensor network. Unlike traditional point sensors, this new skin technology can distinguish between a gentle finger touch, a hot surface, a sharp object, or multiple simultaneous contact points. Integrating this technology fundamentally improves naturalness and safety in social interactions. A robotic dog can now distinguish between being petted, light pressure and warmth, and being harmed, high pressure or impact. Moreover, research into self-healing materials, such as silicone elastomers with liquid metal microdroplets, enables systems that restore electrical conductivity after cuts or punctures, forming a synthetic analog to biological wound healing. The rigid, segmented motions of traditional servos are being replaced by the fluid movements of artificial muscle systems. Institutions like MIT and Northwestern University have developed soft tissues that contract and relax like biological muscles in response to magnetic fields. These technologies are especially crucial for mimicking animals such as snakes, fish, or birds. For instance, projects within Festo's Bionic Learning Network use such soft actuators to create robots inspired by creatures like the Flick-Flack Spider Bionic Wheelbot or the Bat Bionic Flying Fox, achieving near biological fluidity. For robotic animals to exist in the wild, they must overcome dependence on electrical outlets. Energy autonomy is the most critical infrastructure enabling free-roaming robotic life. Future smart cities will include an invisible energy grid designed for robotic animals. Companies like Wiferian and Electrian have developed inductive charging systems that enable wireless charging with up to 93% efficiency. Embedded charging pads in sidewalks, park benches, and specialized docking huts will enable short-duration opportunity charging, which is essential for 24/7 patrol robots or autonomous pest control units. Additionally, robots are gaining the ability to harvest environmental energy. Photovoltaic skins and piezoelectric sensors increase operational range by generating power from sunlight or motion. While current technology cannot fully meet a robot dog's energy demand solely through solar harvesting, these systems allow the robot to keep sensors active in sleep mode, contributing meaningfully to energy independence. The question of when robotic animals will be seen on streets depends on market status and commercialization speed. The ecosystem is now divided between high-cost industrial platforms and rapidly cheaper consumer products. This indicates a dual spread: top-down, industry to consumer, and bottom-up, hobbyist to utility. The strategy of China-based manufacturers such as Unitree and Xiaomi is the biggest catalyst for widespread adoption. A price point around $1,600 places an advanced robot dog in the same cost bracket as a purebred puppy or a high-end laptop. This price parity makes the technology accessible not only to corporations, but also to middle-upper-income individuals. As a result, the frequency of robotic animals in public spaces is becoming less a technological problem and more a question of manufacturing scale and cultural acceptance. The integration of robotic animals into daily life is not a single event, but a gradual process. Based on market forecasts and technological maturity, this process is expected to unfold in 3 primary phases. Phase 1, Functional Pioneers and Industrial Presence, 2024-2027. During this period, robotic animals primarily exist as tools. Visibility, high but localized. Locations, construction sites, power plants, tech parks, university campuses, and wealthy neighborhoods of early adopters. Characteristics, operated by controllers or restricted autonomous routes. Some regions, such as Pennsylvania, have already granted them pedestrian status on sidewalks. Market, service robotics, valued at $46.55 billion. Phase 2, Social Integration and Institutional Adoption, 2028-2032. Robots begin transitioning from tools to social actors. Visibility, from moderate to common. Locations, hospitals, nursing homes, malls, public parks, gated communities. Characteristics, standardization of e-skin and effective AI allows safe physical interaction. Guide dog robots for the visually impaired and municipal pest control robots become widespread. Market, consumer robotics, accelerates with a CAGR of 25%, exceeding $40 billion. Phase 3, Ubiquitous Integration and Hybrid Society, 2033-2040 plus. Visibility, everywhere truly ubiquitous. Locations, urban centers, suburbs, agricultural zones, and wildlife conservation areas. Characteristics, biomimetic wildlife, robotic birds, insects, becomes part of the urban ecosystem. Robots communicate with traffic lights and other autonomous systems through full IoT integration. Market status. The global robotics market reaches between $227 billion and $300 billion. Functional roles. What jobs will they perform in public spaces? Robotic animals are not designed merely as entertainment toys, but as the specialized workforce of the 21st century. These are the specific roles they will perform in public environments. Synthetic guardians, security and policing. Robotic dogs represent the most controversial yet fastest-growing application in law enforcement. Current status. New York NYPD and Los Angeles LAPD have incorporated Boston Dynamics Spot Digidog into their inventory for hazardous reconnaissance. The Dubai Police aims for 25% robotic force by 2030. In China, quadruped robots are used for crowd control and emergency alerts. Capabilities. These units are equipped with 360 degrees cameras, thermal imaging, gas detectors, and two-way audio systems. However, the existence of civilian variants equipped with flamethrowers, e.g. Terminator, raises serious concerns about the dual-use militarization potential of this technology. Architects of accessibility, robotic guide dogs. In humanitarian applications, robotic guide dogs have revolutionary potential for visually impaired individuals. Need and constraints. Training a biological guide dog costs $40,000 takes years, and the dog's working lifespan is only 8–10 years. Merely 2% of visually impaired individuals have access to one. Technological solution. Researchers at Binghamton University and Georgia Tech are developing robots that respond to leash tension and navigate using GPS and LiDAR. Advantages. Robotic guides never tire, lose focus, or require food or toileting, and they offer explainability. I am stopping because there is a hole ahead. Mass production is expected to reduce their cost far below biological alternatives. Ecological agents, pest control, and wildlife management. Robotic fauna will not be limited to ground-dwelling dogs. It will inhabit the skies and underground as well. Robotic falcons, roe bird. Airports and waste facilities use flapping-wing ornithopters that imitate raptors to deter bird flocks. Unlike noise cannons, birds do not habituate to the silhouette and wingbeat of a predator, making roe bird a long-term solution. Robotic rats. In Singapore, pest control firms deploy small camera-equipped robots to detect rodent infestations in ceilings and narrow ducts. In scientific research, robotic mice such as Smero interact socially with real mice, e.g., imitation play, to modulate and study behavior. Existential question: will real animals disappear? The user's question, will real animals vanish, is the most profound ethical and philosophical dimension of this report. Data suggests that robotic animals will not eradicate biological animals, but will displace them in urban settings and reshape norms around pet ownership. Environmental argument, carbon footprints. In the climate crisis era, biological pet ownership faces increasing scrutiny. Meat consumption and waste. If US pets were considered a nation, they would be the 5th largest meat-consuming country. Their consumption equates to 64 million tons of CO2 annually. Pet waste contributes to eutrophication and pathogen spread. Robotic alternative. While robots require e-waste and rare earth materials, their lifetime energy consumption over 15 years may be lower than the agricultural carbon footprint of a large carnivorous pet. Future scenario. By 2050, owning a large biological dog in a dense metropolis may be viewed, like driving a large SUV today, as an environmentally irresponsible or heavily taxed eco-luxury. Psychological substitution. Can we love a machine? Studies show that humans form surprisingly strong bonds with robotic beings. Hybrid ontology. Research on Sony Abo owners reveals that users attribute moral status and mental states to the robot, seeing it as neither fully machine nor fully creature. Grief and attachment. People experience grief similar to biological loss when a robot dies, irreparably fails. This aligns with disenfranchised grief in psychology, triggering rumination and emotional processing. Neurological synchronization. Human-dog eye contact synchronizes brain waves, cross-species bonding. Advanced effective AI aims to replicate these biological cues, pupil dilation, vocal tone, warmth, to stimulate oxytocin release and artificially recreate this synchronization. Therapeutic impact. Robots like Paro or Joy for all cats are proven to reduce loneliness and agitation in dementia care, matching the benefits of live animals without risks of bites, allergies, or hygiene issues. Conflict zones, real vs robot. Sharing physical space will inevitably create tensions between biological and robotic species. Biological reactions. Videos and experiments show that real dogs fear or attack robot dogs. They perceive the odorless, uncanny, motor-sounding robotic movement as a threat. Property and damage. If a real dog attacks and damages a robot dog in a park, should the incident be classified as property damage or animal aggression? Such cases demand new public space regulations. Legal and ethical frameworks regulating a new species. The arrival of autonomous agents in public spaces exposes serious gaps in existing law. Pedestrian status and sidewalk rights. Several U.S. states, such as Pennsylvania, legally classify delivery robots and functionally similar quadrupeds as pedestrians, granting sidewalk access. Limits on weight up to 550 pounds and speed 12 mph attempt to balance human, animal, and robot traffic. Liability regimes and the EU AI Act. Strict liability. For damages caused by robotic animals, battery explosions, tripping pedestrians, policymakers propose strict liability, holding manufacturers or operators responsible regardless of fault. EU AI Act. This legislation categorizes AI by risk. Robots with emotion recognition or biometric identification, such as police robots, may fall into high-risk or even prohibited categories. This may slow the spread of emotionally aware robotic pets in Europe compared to Asia or the US. Weaponization and misuse. Weaponizing civilian robots, e.g. Terminator, or modifying cheap, online quadrupeds into attack platforms poses new security threats. Experts call for drone-like registration, licensing, and weaponization bans for ground robots. Conclusion: toward a hybrid society. Robotic animals are neither a passing fad nor a distant dream. They represent the convergence of industrial technology with biological forms. The end of real animals is unlikely, but the end of their monopoly is certain. The future will be a hybrid ecology, where biological and synthetic creatures coexist. Division of labor, dangerous, dirty, and dull tasks, security, pest control, load carrying shift to robots. Emotional diversity. Biological animals retain value for their authenticity and soul, whereas robotic animals become an ethical, practical refuge for individuals with allergies, disabilities, or demanding urban lifestyles. Legal evolution. Laws expand to include not only humans and animals, but semi-living, autonomous entities. The streets of the future will show a symbiosis where flesh and bone dogs walk alongside their carbon fiber and silicon counterparts, and real hawks glide above robotic falcons. Humanity stands not merely at the dawn of a new technology, but the birth of a new kind of species.